as far as like monitors go, I like to have it pretty well balanced, but I think everybody on stage likes to be the star player in their ears. So my mix is always pretty bass heavy, but over everything is the click. I have the click kind of is the master of everything, and so I just let it, almost hurt, but so I turn it up until I'm kind of wincing, and then back it off a little bit, and then it's all right, and then kind of adjust everything. It's true.
It hurts so good.
It hurts so good. Like, I feel naked without a click. I mean, I played for years without one, but, it's just, the click is, for me, super important. I mean, Josh is basically a human metronome anyway, but I don't like having a whole lot of hi-hat in my mix, which is a problem sometimes. But I try to keep everything else pretty well balanced so I can hear everything that's going on. Because being able to hear everything means that you're able to allow room if something is happening. Like we were talking about how like Jeffrey started something else. If there's something really cool that's going on. As a bass player, I try not to become a solo instrument. My general rule is keep it simple and let everybody else, we're the foundation instrument, so I just, have everything to where I can hear, and then it doesn't need to sound like a CD because my mix is really detailed as far as the things that I need to hear. So like the toms and the kick and snare are really loud, but like I don't need a whole lot of like Chris's acoustic. Yeah, sorry.
That hurts.
It's on. I can hear you when it's quiet.
Got any advice for getting the knife out of my back? Is there an iPhone app for that?
It's funny how it does kind of hurt a little bit when somebody says, can I get him down? This just feels bad for some reason.
The best.
How do you feel right now? How do you feel right now? Right?
Just big old thumbs down.
Well, the best is when someone looks at the monitor guy and points and goes,
Yeah.
just like, don't need any of them.
Yeah.
Which I do that shamelessly with BGVs.
Yeah.
Kill it.
I don't need BGV in my mix. I think one thing to remember is just keeping things out of your mix that will destroy a mix. So anything ambient or washy, it's cool to add them after you have your main mix structure, but before that, they can really kill a mix. Like I'm talking about like things like reverb, delay, any sort of effects on the drums or the vocals, or crowd mics, even lots of guitar reverb just on my pedal board, or
Pads.
even pads. Like Ian has 3 main patches that we hear. They're in stereo, but and channel 1 is mostly pads, so I start with pads lower than like his melody channels, which is keys 2 and keys 3, just because those things can really swamp a mix and make it so that I can't hear everything as clearly as I want to be able to. So I add that stuff in after I have a great drum mix and a great bass mix and a great guitar mix and a great like keys, melodies and stuff. And then I'll start adding in vocal mics and crowd mics and keys 1 and reverb if I want it.
Let's do a quick like lightning round with everybody on in-ear tips.
I started playing stereo. I use 2 amps for me. It's because a mono guitar signal in my in-ears just sounds really boring, and it's not inspiring at all. So I have 1 amp over here and 1 amp over here, and I get a stereo image, and it's more like I'm standing out there with you guys listening. So that was a big thing for me, having a stereo guitar.
Do you set your tone with your ears in, or do you go set it somewhere?
So I run my amps pretty loud, so I always have my amps off stage. Never, ever have my amps on stage. I'm actually really uncomfortable in front of my amps. Like, I don't record standing next to my amps. I almost never play standing next to my amps. It's just what I've gotten. I've gotten so comfortable with my in-ears that I'll take my guitar and a cable and just walk off stage to wherever the amps are, plug straight into them, and get my basic tone. And then I know how my pedals are going to make the amp react based on the basic tone that I get from the amp. So I do that with both amps, and I set both amps pretty much the same. Even if they're 2 different brands, I don't like run one clean and one dirty. I run them pretty much the same volume and dirtiness and so that they react the same in both my ears. So it sounds like one amp, basically, but a stereo image.
You know, I just try to use a lot of EQ, so I'll just add low end. I'm just adding low end to the snare and the toms and the kick so that it feels like I'm, you know, pushing some power in my ears, you know. And then, I have everything, all the mics that are here I'm listening to and pretty slamming all the time. So
That's great.
Yeah, Josh gets his tone with his in-ears in versus me getting my tone at the amp without my in-ears.
Yeah.
one of my main secrets is the crowd mics. So if you guys don't implement crowd mics into your, ears, it really helps just glue my entire mix together after the fact. I always do them last, so I'll get everything going, and then I'll just add in as much crowd as I want, and everything just kind of comes together and, smooths things out and makes it feel really good, sounds really live, because, everybody knows with in-ears it's just like dead silent. So yeah, I think that's my...
It's actually a pretty good tip for people trying to get into in-ears. That's the number one complaint, from any worship leader. You'll notice McClarney's usually only leads with one ear in, if any. And we had to get him to use in-ears for his recording.
If there was a way to have click and a wedge, I would do it, but I'm stuck with these.
So is that you get the mix level or to your preferred place where it's at a certain level, and then add crowd until it feels good. And that'll be subjective per person.
As a worship leader, I have a hard time feeling disconnected from the crowd. So then I start cranking the crowd mics so loud that it's swimming everything, and then you lose all definition. So I'm doing the really bad thing of taking one ear out, which apparently will make you go deaf.
What?
Is what they've told me.
It can give you vertigo too,
Or vertigo,
or something
which is
like
why
that.
I'm always dizzy.
Yeah.
I didn't fall out in the Holy Spirit. I'm just dizzy. I know it's bad. It's really bad. So I'm the wrong guy to give anybody advice on these things.
We'll edit it out, though.
Yeah, make it sound real good. In-ears are great. Sweetwater.
Ian, with you, obviously you're not just playing keys, but you're manning your space station over there. What's a mix look like for you to be able to monitor that stuff, hear everybody else, and stay connected?
So I typically try to get bass, drums, and guitars sounding like as full and awesome without anything else as I can. And then the way we actually check keys, I have a loop that goes forever of a chorus everyone's familiar with, and we go click first, and then I go keys 1, which typically I say is anything that could be made with a synth. It's coming, so pads and synth things are coming out of keys 1. Keys 2 is anything that could be played on a piano-type instrument. Keys 3 is everything else. So we'll go through those channels, and everyone gets them, and so I'll balance them in. They're a little bit louder, because I need to hear what's going on, and so, the keys are definitely above everything else. And then vocals, I've been experimenting a little bit lately, but typically I keep vocals a little bit quieter than, or a lot quieter than what might be typical, and that's so I can turn it up loud without going deaf. Because, you get the vocalist at a level of an album, and good luck turning your ears up and feeling the band. So I'll bury the vocals a little bit to where it's like I can just understand what's happening. I can hear him singing. I can understand the consonants. That's about it. And then I can crank it just about as loud as I want without it hurting.
That's good.